What's up, everybody? Noah Kaser back here for a brand new show. This is Noah Kaser Live. This is where I'm going to be reviewing all the new movies as well as the new Hallmark movies, but also going over news topics, box office, and what's coming out the following week. I do have another show called Noah and Scotty Reviews. So when we can't do that show, I will be doing this show right here. Now, this is going to be a live show every single week, or try to do it every single week. So today we have reviews for Civil War, the brand new A24 movie, as well as going over the significant box office for that. Also, 3 Hallmark movies, Falling in Love in Niagara, Legend of the Lost Locket, and Blind Date Book Club. We will also be going over the brand new Disney Plus news. Disney Plus is going to be streaming brand new live streaming channels for Marvel and Star Wars and maybe some others. We're going to be going over the Abigail and the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare reviews/reactions. The box office was what's coming out over the next week. So first up, we are going to be going over Civil War. So Civil War is the brand new A24 movie that I really wanted to see. So me and the girlfriend decided, you want to know what? Let's go ahead and give this a shot. So we went to the theater and we got 2 trailers in front of it. So I do want to discuss the 2 trailers in front of it. We have I Saw the TV Glow, the brand new Jordan Fisher film. That one looks fine. Maxine does look up my alley. I did enjoy X. I liked Pearl a little bit more. Maxine is going to be the brand new 3rd film in the trilogy, maybe more. We'll see what he does with the X franchise. But Civil War is the brand new A24 film. In the near future, a group of war journalists attempt to survive while reporting the truth as the United States stands on the brink of civil war. With this movie, right? With this movie, this could go one of 2 ways. How does it go? Well, it goes the right way. It is a very tight, very tight hour and 40-something minute movie that has very little in the way to please anybody. This is not going to be a film that apologizes to you. This is a movie that wants to get a message out. It's an anti-war film, is basically what this movie is. This one has a phenomenal cast in it. I mean, a phenomenal cast. Kirsten Dunst, Jesse Plemons, Kaylee Spaney, Nick Offerman. Phenomenal cast here. I really wanted more from this film, but what I mean when I say I wanted more from this film in way of speeding the story up a little bit. We got a little bit too much of the slow moments. There are slow moments throughout, but that's the point of the film. It was just too slow for me, personally. I wanted more from this film in way of action, and that's kind of what the trailer did. The trailer promised a bit more of an action-based film, and there is plenty of gunfire, there's plenty of action, but that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing whatsoever. It is not a bad thing, hardly whatsoever. But this is going to be something that is going to be very split. Civil War is not going to be a very well-loved film by literally everybody who sees it, or a hated film. This is going to be right down the middle. I've already seen it. We've already seen it. This movie is divided. The cinematography is beautiful. The overall feel of this film is very dull and dark, and it has very much a lot to say about one certain subject, and that's war. But Civil War is a film that has beautiful cinematography. The sound design is freaking phenomenal. Kirsten Dunst's performance is great. One of the best of her entire career, if not the best performance of her entire career. This film could have just suffered. It could have gone one of 2 ways, right? If you sped this up a little bit, cut this a good 15 minutes, this could have been a nice, tight 90-minute film. But this movie goes, and it goes, and it goes for a couple minutes without any dialogue. While that is a character-driven film and the beautiful cinematography, it slows the film down. And I did not care for the ending, and neither did my girlfriend. She didn't care for the ending either. It kind of just stops. And I wanted a bit more of what the characters went through after what happens at the ending. I wanted a bit more of how it affects them. That did not work for me, But I get why everybody's loving this film. It's phenomenally shot. The sound design is freaking phenomenal. Kirsten Dunst is great. There's a ton of tight gripping films. This film grips you, right? But this film definitely gives you these moments, especially during the Jesse Plemons one scene when he has the gun pointed at people. That scene made me grab my seat, and I was just gripping on for dear life because it is a very intense scene. I enjoyed this film a lot more than I thought I would, and I'm going to be giving Civil War a very, very good, a very nice 3.5 out of 5. I could go with a 4, but that's not really a downgrade on the film itself. The issue for me was the pacing. It was paced too poorly for me, and I did not like the ending. I wanted a bit more of a better ending, and if you would have cut out some of those scenes that were just tranquil, quiet scenes, like a couple-second scene of a flower, a couple-second scene just flying over the city. While it's beautiful, it starts to drag the film down a little bit once you do so many of those. Yes, you're showing your ability to have phenomenal cinematography, but it's just not enough for me to want to rewatch your film because the ending was not pleasing and it was a bit of a slower film. There is my thoughts on Civil War. What did you guys think down in the comments down below about Civil War? Did you go and see it? Were you a part of the massive amount of A24 people who went to go and see this? And let me know your thoughts down below. Next up is going to be the brand new Hallmark film. I have 3 Hallmark reviews, and this one is not out yet. This one is available on Hallmark Movies Now, but it is not aired on Hallmark Channel. So this is a bit of an early review, I guess, for Falling in Love in Niagara. Falling in Love in Niagara is the brand new film starring Jocelyn Hutton. I believe it's Jocelyn Hutton. And this movie intrigued me because I'm a massive fan of her. I really enjoy her films. She is an actress who delivers every single time I've seen her in a film. Her performances are great. She was just in a film earlier in January, I believe, called Romance with a Twist. I enjoyed that film too. This movie delivers. This movie delivers on every level it needs to. It's a spring film that takes place in Niagara Falls. What else do you need? You will get to see the Niagara Falls, but it's the chemistry between these two stars here. After her fiance leaves her before their wedding, Madeline, played by Jocelyn Hutton, goes to Niagara Falls to honeymoon without him. There, she reconnects with her adventurous side and learns to let go and find new love. Played by Dan here. And Dan's name in the movie is Mike. Mike and Madeline have phenomenal chemistry in this movie. I love the chemistry. The best chemistry I have seen this year so far with a Hallmark film. But that's not saying a whole lot because this has been a weaker year for Hallmark, unfortunately. Being a massive fan of these films. I want these films to be phenomenal every single time. They are not supposed to be these deep stories with rich characters and deep storytelling with the meaning of life in them. All these films are supposed to be as a nice, lighthearted escape from the world. Civil War does give you an escape from the world, but it gives you a scary look at what the world could become if we don't change. What this film does, it delivers a phenomenally done story all about these two people just falling in love and trying to let your love trying to cope, right? Just trying to cope with what love is. Coping from a different love. I loved what this movie did. Jocelyn does a great job. So does Dan, but the cinematography and the chemistry is what makes this film. That's not saying that it doesn't have a couple flaws here. Once we get to the climax of the film, that's where a lot of Hallmark films struggle. If you give me a film where you are going to bring in the former love, we've seen this many, many times, right? If you're a Hallmark viewer, you know this. The Hallmark films bring in, oh, hey, the ex wants me back. The ex wants me back because of this, this, and this. Not going into spoilers on this film, but we get that here. And that's where the film really starts to just get lower on the grading scale. I enjoyed this movie overall, but with that being said, this movie should have been a lot better and not brought in the cliched moment of bringing the X in. I am a massive fan of Hallmark Channel. But if you're going to do that, give me something like a Three Wise Men and a Baby. A former love who is barely in the film, but you build upon that. Instead of just, hey, I'm falling in love with this guy over here, and this guy over here who I used to be engaged with is now a part of this story. Why? Because drama. That's lazy storytelling. That's lazy storytelling. We've seen them in soap operas for 30, 40 years now. But overall, I really did enjoy this film. I enjoyed this a lot. It's one of the best Hallmark films of the entire year. If we wouldn't have had the mind-numbingly stupid decision to bring in the X and what they do with that character, he's a wasted character at the end of the day, because if you're not going to use him, he's not likable. We don't like him from the very start, so why are we going to care about what's going to happen when we already know what's the ending is going to be? Jocelyn makes this movie worth it, and so does Dan. But the X in this film just ruins it. That storyline ruins it. I enjoyed this. I wanted to give this a 4.5 out of 5. And yes, I don't review these films like I review a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood or a Cruella or a Civil War. These are different types of films because I'm looking for comfort, but I'm also reviewing a very easy film. I enjoyed this one overall. The best film of the entire year from Hallmark gets a 4 out of 5 from me. So there's my review of that film. Let's take a look at the comments real quick, see if anybody is in here. We do have one person in here. We have my buddy Luke Ponto. What's up, Luke? Thank you for stopping in here, man. And I will see you here in about, well, I'll probably see you before that, but I'll be on his channel very, very soon as well for a watch along, one of my favorite films of last year. Next up is going to be a review for Legend of the Lost Locket. Legend of the Lost Locket is another Hallmark film that debuted early on Hallmark Movies Now, but it just debuted on Hallmark Channel this past weekend. The issue is, this movie I was not excited for in the least. I was not excited for this movie in the least. But I was going in optimistic because I went into plenty of the Christmas films with no expectations and I was blown away. This movie, however, did not do the same for me. I wanted to love this film. It didn't work. What does work is Natasha Burnett. Natasha Burnett delivers, and so does Viv Leacock. Two good leads, but the chemistry is not there with this script. They don't do enough to bring in the romance in this film. When an antique expert takes on a quest to find a long-lost locket that promises to bring the wearer true love, she finds herself in conflict with, but also attracted to, the town sheriff. This is a very cliched story. It brings in a bit of a mystery aspect, and we've seen this all before. We've seen this same story before. We've seen, okay, let's find this lost recipe of my grandma's. Let's look for this, in this case, a locket. When you do that, it's very risky because you're not going to give a whole lot to the romance if you just pay attention to the locket. And you don't pay attention to the locket enough, you give too much on the romance. So you're not doing a nice tonal balance of your genres here. I wanted more. I wanted more. But they didn't give me more. They gave me a story about the locket. And the locket did have an intriguing promise to it. The first, not even the first half, the first like 20, 30 minutes of this film were really enjoyable. And then it gets slow. That's when it gets slow. And that's when I lost all interest in it, right? I lost all interest in this film right after the 30-minute mark. with a 2-hour runtime with the credits included when I watched this on my DVR from Friendly. This movie really, really did not work for me. I was sitting there waiting for it to end while the chemistry is there on screen with these two. They have good on-screen chemistry. It's the script that's the issue. You have to have good written chemistry. It's the lines they read. It doesn't matter how well they perform. It doesn't matter how good their on-screen chemistry is. What matters is, do you write good dialogue to build this romance? And they don't do that enough in this Hallmark romance film. Now, they're trying to make this not where it's a romance, where it's more of like a mystery. And the mystery is not all that intriguing either. So the mystery not being intriguing and the romance not being all that intriguing defeats the whole purpose of your freaking film. Legend of the Lost Locket is a disappointing Hallmark film that I wanted more from. The cinematography is great. I did really enjoy the nice, bright spring tone to this film. It had a very nice, old-timey feel to it as well. I enjoyed the sets in this, the backgrounds, the costumes, especially on Viv Leacock. Phenomenal costumes on him. I really enjoyed his hat. That was a beautiful hat. I don't know whether that's a fisherman's cap or what it is, but I really enjoyed that one. And yes, I'm geeking out over a hat. Whoopee. Legend of the Lost Locket is a really promising Hallmark film, but it just didn't capitalize on anything. Legend of the Lost Locket is going to be getting a pretty low 2.5 out of 5 from me. I wanted more. It didn't deliver. But with that being said, with Hallmark, I've got what I've been expecting from some of them. Speaking on things that I've been expecting to be very, very good. Okay. This one is either going to make you happy or it's going to make you hate me. This is Aaron Krako's new film. This is Blind Date Book Club. Blind Date Book Club is a film that is going to intrigue book lovers, but also, if you're a romance fan, you're going to be torn, because I'm a bit torn with this film. You don't get a whole lot of the actual romance building of them as a couple, but you get a lot of the book club and the bookstore, and everything about books is in this film. But you don't build the romance a ton. I loved this film as a romance fan, but also as a book movie fan. I enjoyed this because we've gotten plenty of Hallmark films about books, right? We had one about an author who lost her memory in Falling for Vermont. We had one about two authors going on a book tour in A Winter Love Story. We've had these types of films before. I enjoyed this for exactly what it was. If you're a book fan, you're not going to enjoy this film because you don't get a whole lot of authors or anything like that. If you're a romance fan, you'll be very, very pleased. But if you want both, you're not going to get a good mix of both. And I knew that going in. I loved this film for exactly what it was. I loved it for exactly what it was. Erin Krako delivers a beautifully done, stunning performance in her beautiful, beautiful costumes. I don't care what movie she's in. She always has beautiful costumes. This is all about a bookstore owner finds love and direction in life after agreeing to review a famous author's new novel in her blind date with a book club. This is Robert Buckley, and Robert Buckley has been in Hallmark films before as well. So Robert Buckley is a very interesting Hallmark star because he's had a bit of a mixed time with them, right? He had The Christmas House and The Christmas House 2, but also Love in Store. So Love in Store, as you can see here, I'm not a massive fan of Love in Store. I gave that one a nice little 2 out of 5. For me, that's not a good Hallmark film. I gave The Christmas House a 3.5. I also gave The Christmas House 2, Deck Those Halls. Where are you at? I didn't rate it. But I remember how much I liked it, so if I rated it, it'd probably be a 3.5 as well. Blind Date Book Club is a film that I loved because it gave me what I wanted. It gave me a nice springtime film with beautiful cinematography, well done score for a nice, cheery, happy film. And that's what Hallmark needs to be. It needs to be cheery and happy. Yes, you get the same story over and over and over again, but there's differences with the stars. There's different takes. There's different stories. There's different turns they take. Every film is the same formula, yes, but that's what Hallmark fans love, and that's why we watch. I really enjoy this film overall. I'm going to go with a 4 out of 5 for this one. I really liked it. Not what I was expecting it to be, but definitely one that I am looking forward to seeing in the very, very near future once again. Because I can see myself rewatching this one multiple more times. Is it her strongest film? Not really. It is not her strongest film. I think her best film is still It Was Always You with Tyler Hynes. I really, really do. But let's take a little break from reviewing stuff, and then we'll go right into the news topics. And we're going to take a look at the comments here. We also have Jared. What's up, Jared? And I want to give a special shout out to Jared because Jared is the reason we have the thumbnails. I'm not good at thumbnails. He makes my thumbnails for me, and I thank you for that. And thank him in the comments down below. We also have Cal L. What's up, my dude? Check out his channel. Get him to a lot more subscribers, as well as Jared and Luke. Next up, we will be going into the fun topic. Now, I'm looking forward to seeing, right? Disney Plus is going to be doing live streaming channels? Really? They're going to be doing live streaming channels. But the main topic we're going to talk about is Disney, Marvel, and Star Wars streaming channels. What does this mean? We're going to take a look at this here because I think this means a couple things. Everybody is mainly focusing on the story of the Marvel and Star Wars. What they're not talking about is what we could be getting along with it. So, it was just announced that Disney is to create always-on channels. Always-on channels for streaming content, for their own streaming content. So, instead of going to a Disney Plus service and wanting to watch one Star Wars film, if you just want to watch any Star Wars, whether it's the Clone Wars or the Bad Batch or the Star Wars films or the Mandalorian, you don't care as long as it's Star Wars. They're going to have a streaming channel 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And I think everybody should be doing this. I really think everybody should be doing it. It's going to be doing a streaming platform, right? It's a streaming platform. But the issue here is they are not going to tell you everything they're going to be streaming. What they're going to be doing is releasing other services as well, other channels. It's not just going to be for Marvel and Star Wars, I don't think. I think what they're going to be doing is doing this. Getting in the fast lane. Getting in the fast lane of fast channels, which is like a Tubi and a Pluto. My family loves Pluto. They use it a lot. What I think they're going to do is start doing a lot more of this, because let's say you want to do like I don't know. Let's say you want to do something like a Disney Junior channel. If you want to do a Disney Junior channel to show old Disney shows like Bear in the Big Blue House, if you want to do 5 hours of the Higglytown Heroes, if you want to do 2 hours of the Roly Poly Oly show, you can do that now. If you just want to have something running for your kids without worrying, are you still there? And I think they should get rid of that as well. Are you still there? If I'm falling asleep to something, I want to fall asleep to it. I want to wake up and know that it is still on my TV running. I think that's what they're going to do. Do I think it's a good idea? Yes, I do. Why? Because I'm a Marvel fan, right? Clearly, I'm a Marvel fan. I have my Marvel hat right here. I love Marvel to death. I like most of their films, and I really don't care. What happens here? What happens here is you have somebody like, say my friend Cam, right? Cam will go on to Disney Plus one day and go, hey, I don't know what Marvel movie I am in the mood for, but I'm going to sit here and just see what's on the Disney Plus streaming. So he sees it's in the last 1 hour of Endgame. He'll sit there and watch the last hour of Endgame. If he wants to sit through the next one, he'll see it's Deadpool, then Deadpool 2, X-Men 2, X-Men Wolverine. Do what you want, but I think that this is a very good idea. With Star Wars, you can do New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and The Return of the Jedi back-to-back and go right into Obi-Wan Kenobi if you want to. You can go right into Obi-Wan. You can go right into The Mandalorian. Just have it run continuously. I'd probably do the same thing if I was them. But what I would do more importantly is I would cater to the family audience. I would cater to a Disney Princess channel. I would cater to a Disney 90s channel. I would cater to a sitcom channel where you show episodes of Boy Meets World, show an episode of The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, show an episode of, say, A Sister's Sister or something. Air something. But I think the princess stuff and the Star Wars stuff and the Marvel stuff is very, very smart. I would just do a Disney Junior thing because I think the toddlers are really going to love that. They won't care as long as it's something. But the 90s channel, the 80s channel, the princess channel, Disney animated channel, if you want to do that, or just a Disney animated channel, I think everybody would love that. I would be into it. If I can go on there and watch 2 hours of Boy Meets World, any episode that's on, I wouldn't care. But, you know, I'm just happy. I'm happy. I can go on there and watch whatever is on the Star Wars channel, whatever is on the Marvel channel. If I need, like, something to watch right before work, I can watch a good 15 minutes of Endgame. I can watch a good 15 minutes of Iron Man 2. I can watch a good 50 minutes. A good 50 minutes of, say, one episode of, say, episode 8 of WandaVision, if it's on there. That's what I would do. I would just run it continuously. And I think that's what is the smart idea they're going to do. What do you guys think down below of that? And we're going to go right into the next topic. But first, we're going to go into the live chat and see what's going on in the live chat. We have Gavin. Welcome in, Gavin. Thank you for stopping in, man. Check him out. He has a brand new show coming out soon. Go check his channel out. He does reviews, reactions, and he has a couple podcasts coming out. Check out his brand new one with Mike very, very soon, as well as his brother Cam. Check out those guys and give them some love on their channels as well. Next up, we will be going into the Abigail reactions/reviews. So Abigail is a film releasing this Friday in theaters. I will be seeing it on Saturday with my girlfriend. And we're going to be going into the theater knowing it's a very gory, bloody time. That's what we want. We know what we want from it, and we're happy with it. So what is Abigail? What are the thoughts on Abigail? What is the thoughts? We're going to take a look at Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes right now has it as a 82% rated R horror mystery thriller, 1 hour and 49 minutes. And the reviews are looking pretty positive. We have Sally McClure, who says, Abigail has humor, action, and lots of blood. It's hard to stand out in a red sea of vampire movies, but this one does it. We will go into a negative review here from Simon from RogerEbert.com. It's not badly made, just uninspired and played out. But this is the person I trust the most, because I've watched Perry Nemiroff for many, many years. She is a horror connoisseur. She knows her horror. She knows her stuff. She loves horror to its core. And she says it's a blood-soaked, bonkers good time. A clever spin on the vampire genre filled with loads of wild set pieces and gore, further fueled by a perfectly cast and electric ensemble. Another negative review here from Scott Phillips from Forbes. I don't mind that someone made an amusement park ride out of the undead. I just wish it wasn't also brain dead. Go down here to Tessa Smith from Mama's Geeky. An absolutely insane, bloody, campy, gore-filled fun fest. Probably the best time at the movies this entire year. See it in a packed theater. Rosie Fletcher from Den of Geek says, Radio Silence has proven themselves as one of the most exciting and crucially fun voices in the horror genre. And Abigail takes it to the next level. So overall, I think this is leaning pretty positive. I do want to read this one, though. This one scares me. A Ready or Not Redux running on half the steam. This one location misfire has plenty of parts that work, but its namesake isn't among them. That scares me a little bit. So what am I thinking about going into this? Well, I'm looking forward to seeing Melissa Barrera in a Radio Silence film, knowing what happened with her in Scream 7. We're not going to talk about that, though. I'm a big fan of Catherine Newton. I have not seen Alicia, though. I know she was the lead in Matilda. I believe, yeah, she was the lead in Matilda. I didn't see it, and I have not seen Wicked Little Letters yet. I've heard that's very funny and very good, though. So I'm expecting this film to be a very charming little film that has lots of blood and gore, good comedic tones to it. I really enjoyed the Ready or Not film. I did enjoy the past two Scream films, not as much as Scream 5. Scream 6 was a bit of a downturn for me because it was the same thing as Scream 2. But I think it's kind of safe to say with Scream, we know what we're getting. Abigail, I think it's going to be a pretty solid time. Am I expecting it to be the best movie of the year? By all means, no. I'm not going into it expecting a Oscar baity film. They know what they're making. They know they're making fun, gore-filled horror. And that's what they do best. They blend the horror and comedy very, very well. It's promising lots of blood, and if you give me lots of blood, I'll be very happy. Next up, we will be looking at the reactions and reviews for the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, which me and my girlfriend will be seeing on Wednesday, probably Wednesday. This is a film that I'm not all that excited about as much as she is, but I do really enjoy Guy Ritchie. I enjoy Guy Ritchie. This movie could go one of two ways, though, because we've seen Guy Ritchie films go multiple different ways. This is a 2-hour action comedy, rated R, of course, but it has an 81%. So a pretty good, decent score from them. And it's Guy Ritchie. We have Henry Cavill, Henry Golding, Carrie Elwes, Alan Richardson. There we go. Alan Richardson. Here we go. The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare has its moments, harkening back to the winsome rogues and madcap mayhem of Ritchie's early gems like Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch. If you're a fan of those two films, that's a very intriguing, small little reaction to it to lead into the review. The movie relies on a terrific ensemble and nearly all its leads, apart from Churchill. While the film lacks depth, it makes up for it with style and interject performances. Clearly, everyone who worked on the film was having an absolute blast. I had a good time with the film, says Sean Chandler. Really enjoy his videos. He's a nice, awesome, smart film critic. Phenomenal channel. William Bibiani, very good critic here from The Wrap, says it's not hard to get swept up in this film's simple pleasures. And I think that's all they're trying to do. But a couple of the negative reviews say Henry Cavill. Okay, Henry Cavill and Alan Richardson are both excellent, but only supporting characters. Isa Gonzalez is the actual lead in an unwritten role. A watered-down Inglourious Basterds, only this is based on a true story. Too bad Ritchie wastes it. Boring, says Grace Randolph. Robert says, almost tricks you into thinking it's not boring because the concept and history behind it are so strong. After 2/3 of setup, the payoff isn't all that eventful. So out of 21 reviews, most of them are positive. 81% of them are positive. So I'm looking forward to this film. What are you thinking about this film, and what do you think is going to happen once this goes to theaters? Because I'm looking forward to this film. This movie is going to be a blast, I think. I think my girlfriend is going to enjoy it more. I think I'm going to enjoy Abigail more than she will. Now, will either of them be in the best films of the year? Abigail, potentially. But this one could surprise me because I did enjoy Guy Ritchie's other films. Guy Ritchie has a lot of other films that I do enjoy. So let's go over them just for a little bit so we can not dog on this film a lot, because I am a Guy Ritchie fan. So looking at the films I've seen of his as a director, which ones have I enjoyed? I have clearly enjoyed Aladdin. I love this movie to death. I think it's phenomenal. I enjoyed The Gentleman. I enjoyed Wrath of Man. Fine. I've never went back to watch it. Operation Fortune is a phenomenally told story, but it's just a little too long and too silly for my liking. It has a very intriguing story and it's well told, but it's too silly. I have seen Sherlock Holmes, A Game of Shadows, and I thought that was very, very good. Revolver was a weak film. That was a very weak film. And Snatch, I'm in the minority here. I did not really enjoy that. I did not enjoy Snatch. But this, by far, is the weakest film he's ever made. Swept Away with Madonna. This is a film that should not have been made. It's all about this young soldier. He's cast adrift on a beautiful island, and how do I describe this film? This film is all about this butler who works on a cruise ship or on this ship for a rich guy, and him and this woman played by Madonna go on a bit of a field trip, really. Let's call it a field trip. And they go in the sea and they get lost. A storm hits them and they just float away. So now they go to a secluded island, and now he kind of holds the power because she doesn't know what she's doing. She's a rich, self-centered woman, and she really doesn't treat him very well at the very beginning of this film. And it turns into her kind of becoming his slave in a way. And somehow they fall in love. The story makes no sense. The direction is very poorly done. The script is poorly done. Madonna's good in the role, but it's just a movie that is him abusing a woman and her abusing him. And it's not a very well done film whatsoever. Next up is going to be the short look at the box office numbers. Box office is something I look forward to every single Sunday. Because if you don't have a good box office return, you're not going to get a sequel. And if you're not going to get a sequel, well, then you kind of just failed. But with Civil War, we aren't going to get a sequel. What this film did was $25 million. This movie doubled. This movie doubled what it was supposed to do. It did $25 million in its opening weekend. $25 million for an A24 film. That is the biggest opening they have ever had. The biggest opening they have ever had. And I'm very proud of them. I love A24. They do a phenomenal job with original films. And they deserve all the love in the world. But I don't think that's the massive story for this week, in my opinion. What I think really Sorry, guys, I'm back. What I really think is the big story is actually what's happening with Godzilla X Kong. Because if you look at the box office for Godzilla X Kong here, you will see that this movie has made a grand total of $438 million. It's going to be probably over the 440 mark by the end of today. 440. Let's take a quick look at Godzilla versus Kong. Godzilla versus Kong. This was released on HBO Max and in theaters during the pandemic, which was not a very smart idea at all. This movie made $450 million. This movie is going to overdo that, which this film probably would have got to maybe 550, 600 million if it wasn't for being released on HBO Max at the same exact time. But this movie is already going to be beating that, and we're going into its third weekend. I haven't seen it yet. I'm going on Thursday to go and see this film. I am. And I'm very looking forward to this film. Number 3, we had Ghostbusters Frozen Empire making $5.7 million. That's not a great overhaul of money. It has made $160 million. It's not flopping, but it's not doing phenomenal numbers either. Kung Fu Panda 4 is still doing really well at $453 million. But what I'm looking forward to seeing is, can Dune 2 make it to $700 million? Can it make it to $700 million? We will find out. Dune was the same thing. It was the same exact way as Godzilla X Kong. It was released in the pandemic. It was released on HBO Max and in theaters. Bad mistake, I think. You should have delayed this 1 year. But $431 million is what that made worldwide in theaters, even on HBO Max. This in theaters, $684 million. I think this could potentially go over the $700 million mark. It depends on how well it plays overseas. If it opens in any more markets. I don't know if it opens in any more markets. But I really am looking forward to seeing if that can make $700 million. What's really intriguing here is we had a film, Shrek 2, for its 20th anniversary, make $1.4 million. So it's inching near the one. No, it's not. It is not going to make $1 billion. Let's not kid ourselves. It's not going to be probably in the box office in 2 weeks whatsoever. But I think it's very intriguing that we have Godzilla X Kong making this much money, and it's going to make more than its previous film this weekend. Civil War having the biggest A24 opening right now. It is at $28,221,485. That's phenomenal for an A24 film. Is it going to break even? Probably not. But I think they know that going in. I think they wanted to tell a story with this film, and I think that's very important as well. And the final topic for this show is going to be what is releasing this week in theaters and on streaming. This is something I look forward to every single week as well, because we look at what is going to be coming out to rent, what's coming to theaters, and what's coming to streaming. So, we have quite a few things coming. This weekend on the Hallmark channel, yes, I know Hallmark, but I'm only going to be covering one film. I've already reviewed it, so the next week I will not have a review for a Hallmark film. This is going, well, I don't think so. I can't remember when the Curious Caterer hits Hallmark movies now. But this film is going to be Falling in Love in Niagara. That actually debuts on Hallmark Channel this Saturday at 8 p.m. Check it out if you haven't watched it on Hallmark Movies Now. Give it some good ratings and let me know what you thought down below. But also, this is a pretty big week, actually. Let me pull this up here. And there we go. So this week, Founders Day is apparently on digital. I didn't see it on Vudu this morning, so I might have to rent that once it goes to $5.99. Dune 2 is available on digital. I know that Gavin is planning on watching this one or two more times this week, maybe more. The Brink of looks like a brand new romance film on VOD. Sweet Dreams is available on VOD. I just watched Immaculate today. Pretty good film. Really, really good film. I didn't want to do a review for that one because I feel it's a bit late for it. But this is going to be the big ones. The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. We've already talked about that one. What my expectations are going in. We've looked at reviews for it. Looking at Abigail. We also have Blood for Dust. Blood for Dust looks to be a action thriller. Kit Harington's in it. Pretty decent cast. Josh Lucas, Kit Harington, and Stephen Dorff. Let me go back here. Late Night with the Devil is going to be releasing on VOD and on Shudder if you have Shudder. In some theaters, we have Sasquatch Sunset. We also have Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver. I shouldn't have made that sound, but after hearing how the first one was, I'm not looking forward to watching the first one and then the second one. But we'll just see how the reviews are because I did skip the first one initially. But we will just have to see. On Hulu, we also have Hip Hop and the White House. And then Anyone But You comes to Netflix, as well as Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 2 comes to VOD and Blu-ray. The Moon and Back. The Beekeeper comes to Blu-ray. The Moon and Back comes to VOD. We have a 4K, I believe that's a steelbook of The Departed. Monkey Man comes to VOD. Wow. Wow. Is that right? Is Monkey Man coming this soon? Oh my Lord. Wow, that is shocking. I don't know if that's right, but if releases.com is right, that is massive. And we might as well go a little bit further. We have Unsung Hero coming to theaters. I believe that's what I'm going to be seeing next week. We also have Cash Out on VOD and in some theaters with John Travolta, as well as on VOD Cinderella's Revenge, Bloodline Killer. We have a film here with Jennifer Hudson and Milla Jovovich and Sam Worthington, a sci-fi action thriller called Breathe. What is Break? What is Break? Let's see. What is Break? That looks like a drama. Okay, it is a drama from Gravitas Ventures. And then I know we have Challengers and Boy Kills World. But this is the film that everybody's looking forward to seeing on Blu-ray again. We have Madam Web. Yes, I'm talking to you, Cam. We also have Mean Girls with a 4K steelbook, a Blu-ray, and a DVD. Crybaby comes to 4K. Witness comes to 4K. My Divorce Party, not sure what that is. And then Basket Case 2. No, Basket Case comes to 4K Blu-ray. What is this? It's a comedy from Gravitas Ventures. That can go one of two ways, and I don't think I'm going to see it. But next week, we will have some stuff for me to talk about, and hopefully you guys enjoy this show. I enjoy doing it. A little mishap here and there, but you know what? That's what happens. There is the stream for you guys. Let me know what you thought down below of the brand new show. A little bit shorter than my usual shows. We will have reviews for Abigail, the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, as well as a couple other things. I might get to Rebel Moon. I'm not sure, but at least a couple things to talk about next week, guys. But like this video, subscribe down below, and comment what you thought of this. Thank you, everybody, for stopping in here. And I will see all of you guys next time.